Kyle Martinez walked through the long crystal hallway of the Galactic Council building. His footsteps echoed against the smooth walls that sparkled like diamonds. He had been here many times before, but the place still made him feel small. The OR ceiling stretched high above his head, designed for beings much taller than humans. Lieutenant Lisa Thompson walked beside him, carrying a datapad filled with reports and charts. She was young for her rank, only 28, but she had a sharp mind for details. Kyle trusted her completely. "The meeting is in 5 minutes, sir," Lisa said quietly. "Do you think they will listen this time?" Kyle shook his head slowly. "They never listen, Lisa, but we have to keep trying." They reached the main council chamber, a massive room with seats arranged in circles. Each seat was built for a different alien species. Some were huge and made of metal for the rock-like granites. Others were filled with water for the fish-like aquarians. The human seats were small and plain, tucked away in a corner where most delegates could barely see them. The chamber buzzed with the sounds of different languages. Universal translators hung from the ceiling, turning alien words into standard galactic speech. Kyle took his seat and waited. Cartographer General Vextar entered the room with his usual dramatic flair. He was a Zephyrian, tall and thin with skin that changed colors based on his mood. Right now it was a dull gray, which meant he was bored. His forearms moved gracefully as he arranged his papers. "Today we discussed trade route updates and territorial mapping," Vextar announced. His voice came through the translators as flat and emotionless. "First, the humans have submitted another request for map corrections." Kyle stood up. "Honorable Cartographer, humanity has been asking for 3 years to update our territorial boundaries on the official galactic maps. Our space extends far beyond what your charts show." Vextar's skin flickered to a pale yellow, the color of mild annoyance. "Ambassador Martinez, your species controls 17 star systems on the galactic rim. Our maps are accurate. There is nothing beyond your space worth charting." "But sir," Lisa whispered urgently, "we have colonies in over 40 systems now." Kyle raised his hand slightly to quiet her. He had learned not to argue too strongly with the council. They saw humans as a young, unimportant species that had barely crawled out of their home system. "Respectfully, General Vextar, our surveys show valuable resources and habitable worlds beyond our current map territory. Other species could benefit from trade with these regions." The Zephyrian's skin shifted to bright orange, the color of irritation. "The galaxy has managed perfectly well for thousands of years without mapping empty space. Your request is denied." Again. Kyle felt his jaw tighten, but he kept his voice calm. "May I ask why our territorial updates are always classified as low priority?" "Because," Vextar said, spreading his forearms wide, "the maps end at human space because there is nothing beyond worth our attention. You occupy the edge of civilization, Ambassador. Beyond you lies only empty darkness." The other delegates murmured agreement. The hegemony representative, a massive creature covered in armor like scales, nodded approvingly. The Stellar Federation's ambassador, a being made of pure energy contained in a crystalline shell, pulsed with what Kyle had learned was their version of laughter. Kyle sat down, defeated once again. He had expected this outcome, but it still stung. Lisa placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Don't worry, sir," she whispered. "Admiral Hayes sent a message this morning. She says it's important." The meeting continued for 2 more hours, covering trade disputes and shipping lane regulations. None of it involved humanity. Kyle and Lisa might as well have been invisible. Finally, the session ended. As the other delegates filed out, chattering in their various languages, Kyle activated his personal communicator. The device was human-made, far more advanced than anything the council used, but he kept that fact to himself. "Secure channel open," the device announced in a soft female voice. "Admiral Hayes, this is Ambassador Martinez. I received your message about something important." The communicator's small screen flickered to life, showing the face of Admiral Patricia Hayes. She was aboard the exploration vessel UES Dakota, somewhere in deep space. Her gray hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her blue eyes looked tired, but excited. Kyle, I'm sending you classified data through quantum encryption. What I'm about to show you will change everything. What did you find out there, Patricia? We discovered an ancient beacon network. Automated systems that have been running for thousands of years. They map every star system in this region of the galaxy. Kyle frowned. So, the Council has mapping systems too. Not like this. Kyle, these beacons don't just map the local systems, they map human systems. Thousands of them. Lisa gasped. Kyle felt his heart start beating faster. What are you saying? I'm saying the Council is wrong. Dead wrong. Humanity doesn't control 17 systems. According to these beacons, we control over 3,000 star systems. We've been expanding and colonizing for 200 years, and apparently, we've been doing it so quietly that even our own government didn't know the full extent. Kyle stared at the screen. 3,000 systems? That's impossible. I'm uploading the data now. See for yourself. Kyle's communicator chimed as files began transferring. He opened the first one, and his mouth fell open. The screen showed a three-dimensional map of local space. The tiny red dot representing officially mapped human territory was surrounded by thousands of blue dots, each representing a human colony or outpost. My God, he whispered. The colonies have been operating independently, reporting to Earth through quantum channels that bypass the Council's communication networks. They've been mining resources, building cities, and developing technology that makes our official fleet look like toys. Lisa looked over Kyle's shoulder at the data. Sir, if this is true, then humanity isn't a rim species at all. We're one of the largest powers in the galaxy. And they have no idea, Kyle said slowly. The Council still thinks we're 17 primitive systems barely worth their attention. Admiral Hayes nodded grimly from the screen. Kyle, there's something else. The colonies have been finding ruins, ancient structures that suggest this region of space was once inhabited by a highly advanced civilization. Some of the artifacts have human genetic markers. What does that mean? It means we might not be expanding into empty space. We might be coming home. Kyle closed his eyes and took a deep breath. When he opened them, Lisa was staring at him with wide eyes. Sir, what do we do with this information? Kyle looked around, the empty council chamber, thinking about Vexitar's dismissive words. The maps end at human space because there is nothing beyond worth charting. We're going to prove them wrong, he said quietly. And they're not going to like what they find. Captain Ryan Foster stood on the observation deck of Nexus 7 mining station and looked out at the planet below. The world was beautiful, with blue oceans and green continents that reminded him of Earth. But this planet didn't exist on any galactic map. According to the Galactic Council, there was nothing here but empty space. Morning coffee, Captain, said Maya Collins, his chief engineer. She handed him a steaming cup and joined him at the window. Maya had been with him for 5 years, ever since they built this station in secret. How are the mining operations going? Ryan asked. Better than expected. We pulled out more rare metals yesterday than most Council worlds mine in a month. The automated systems are working perfectly. Ryan nodded. Nexus 7 was one of hundreds of human mining stations scattered across the outer territories. Each one operated independently, sending resources back to Earth through hidden supply routes. The Council had no idea these stations existed. Any word from Earth? Maya asked. Admiral Hayes sent a message last night. Ambassador Martinez is making progress with the Council, but they still refuse to update the maps. Maya laughed. Let them keep thinking we're just 17 backward systems. Makes our job easier. Ryan smiled, but he felt worried. For 200 years, humanity had been quietly expanding beyond their official borders. It started small, with a few exploration ships that found habitable worlds and decided to stay. Those early colonists built settlements, had children, and kept exploring further out. The colonies grew larger and more advanced. They developed new technologies, built faster ships, and established trade networks between themselves. All of this happened without the Galactic Council knowing about it. Captain Foster to the communication center, came a voice over the intercom. Ryan walked through the station's corridors, greeting the crew members he passed. Nexus 7 housed 3,000 people, making it larger than many official council colonies. The station was built using advanced human engineering that surpassed anything the council races had seen. In the communications center, Ryan found Dr. Amanda Price waiting for him. She was the station's head scientist, responsible for studying the ancient ruins they had found on the planet below. "Ryan, you need to see this," Amanda said excitedly. Her brown hair was messy from working all night, and her eyes were bright with discovery. "What did you find down there?" Amanda activated a holographic display. The image showed the ruins of a massive city buried beneath the planet's surface. The buildings were made of materials that still puzzled human scientists. "We've been scanning the ruins for months, but yesterday we broke through into the central chamber. What we found changes everything we thought we knew about this region of space." The hologram shifted to show artifacts covered in strange symbols. But as Ryan looked closer, he noticed something familiar about the patterns. "These symbols," he said slowly. "They look almost like human writing," Amanda finished. "Not exactly, but similar enough that our computers can translate parts of it." "Ryan, these ruins are at least 50,000 years old. Maybe older." Ryan stared at the display. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that this planet was once inhabited by a highly advanced civilization, a civilization that might have been connected to humanity's ancestors. The genetic markers we found in the ruins show similarities to human DNA. Maya had followed them to the communications center." "You mean humans lived here before?" "Not humans as we know them now, but possibly the same species that eventually became modern humans. Ryan, what if humanity didn't originate on Earth? What if we came from here, from this region of space?" The idea made Ryan's head spin. He had always believed the official history that humans evolved on Earth and then spread to the stars. But what if that was wrong? What if humans were returning to territory they had occupied long ago? "There's more," Amanda continued. "The ruins contain technology that's incredibly advanced. Weapons, shields, faster-than-light travel systems that make our current ships look primitive. And some of it still works." "Still works? After 50,000 years?" "The power systems are unlike anything we've ever seen. They seem to draw energy directly from space itself. If we could understand how they work." Ryan's communicator buzzed with an urgent message. He read it quickly, and his face went pale. "What is it?" Maya asked. "Emergency transmission from Earth. The Hegemony Alliance has declared humanity extinct." "Extinct? What does that mean?" Ryan read more of the message. "They claim that humanity hasn't been heard from in decades and must have died out. They are planning to claim all former human territory for reclamation and proper development." Amanda gasped. "They're going to invade human space?" "According to this, a massive hegemony fleet is already moving toward our official borders. They think they'll find empty systems ready for colonization." Maya started laughing. "They have no idea what they're walking into, do they?" Ryan shook his head. "The hegemony's intelligence is based on old data. They think humanity has 17 lightly defended agricultural worlds. They don't know about the 3,000 colonies, the mining stations, the defensive networks we've built." "What do we do?" Amanda asked. Ryan looked back at the hologram showing the ancient ruins. "First, we need to understand what you found down there. If that technology still works, we might need it. Second, we contact the other stations and colonies. It's time to stop hiding." He activated the station's quantum communicator, a device far more advanced than anything the council used. Within minutes, he was connected to colony commanders across dozens of star systems. "This is Captain Foster at Nexus 7. Emergency protocols are now in effect. The hegemony is moving against human space. All stations are to activate defensive measures and prepare for possible combat." One by one, the colony commanders reported their status. Each report revealed the same thing. Humanity's hidden civilization was far more powerful than anyone in the official galaxy realized. Titan Station reports 100 defensive platforms online. Liberty Colony has 3 squadrons of advanced fighters ready for launch. New Geneva shipyards can deploy 20 heavy cruisers within 6 hours. Ryan listened to the reports with growing amazement. Humanity hadn't just been hiding in the outer territories. They had been building an empire. "Amanda," he said quietly, "how long would it take to activate the ancient technology you found? If we work around the clock, maybe a week." "Do it. Whatever those ruins contain, we might need every advantage we can get." Maya grinned. "The hegemony thinks they're conquering empty space. Instead, they're about to discover that humanity has been their neighbor all along." Ryan looked out at the planet below, thinking about the ancient civilization that once lived there. Had they faced a similar threat? Had they been forced to defend their territory against invaders who didn't understand what they were fighting? "Open a channel to Earth," he ordered. "It's time to tell the galaxy that humanity isn't extinct. We're just getting started." The message he sent would change everything. The hegemony thought they were claiming dead territory. Instead, they were about to wake up a sleeping giant that had been quietly growing stronger for 2 centuries. The galaxy was about to learn that the maps didn't end at human space, because there was nothing beyond. They ended because no one had bothered to look closely enough to see what humanity had really become. General Nathan Brooks stood in the war room at Kepler Station, staring at the massive holographic display that showed the entire human territory. Red dots marked the approaching hegemony fleet, while blue dots showed human defensive positions. There were far more blue dots than red ones. "How long until the hegemony reaches our official borders?" he asked. Admiral Susan Ward checked her datapad. 18 hours, sir. Their fleet is moving faster than expected." "Do they know what they're walking into?" Colonel Peter Graham laughed grimly. "Based on their communications, they think they're conquering 17 primitive farming worlds. They have no idea we've been listening to their transmissions for weeks." Nathan nodded. The Human Defense Network had been intercepting alien communications for decades, while the Council races thought humans were too backward to have advanced technology. Human scientists had been developing systems that were generations ahead of anything the galaxy had seen. "What's our current fleet strength?" Nathan asked. Admiral Ward activated another display. "We have over 2,000 combat vessels spread across our territory. The hegemony is bringing about 300 ships, but they're large and heavily armed. They think 300 ships will be enough to conquer all of human space," Colonel Graham said. "They're basing their plans on intelligence that's 200 years old." Nathan remembered the old reports. Back then, humanity really did have only a few dozen ships and limited defensive capabilities, but that was before the Great Expansion, before the colonies started building their own fleets, before human engineers learned to reverse engineer ancient technology. "Status report on Operation Lighthouse?" he asked. "All colonies are ready, sir," Admiral Ward replied. "Captain Bennett's stealth ships are in position. When you give the order, we'll reveal our true strength to the galaxy." Nathan thought about Captain Laura Bennett, commander of the UES Shadow. Her ship was one of 50 stealth frigates equipped with quantum disruptors, weapons that existed only in theory on Council worlds. Laura had volunteered to lead the first wave of the operation. "Sir, incoming transmission from Captain Bennett," a communications officer announced. Laura's face appeared on the main screen. She was young for a ship captain, only 32, but she had grown up in the outer colonies where survival meant being tougher and smarter than anything the inner galaxy could produce. "General Brooks, the Shadow is in position at the edge of official human space. We can see the hegemony fleet approaching. They're not even trying to hide." "What's your assessment, Captain?" "They're overconfident, sir. Their ships are in a standard conquest formation, designed for overwhelming weak defenses. They expect no real resistance." Lieutenant Jake Morrison, Laura's weapons officer, appeared beside her on the screen. "Sir, their shielding technology is at least 50 years behind ours. Our quantum disruptors should cut through their defenses like paper." Nathan felt a cold satisfaction. The hegemony had made the same mistake as the Galactic Council. They saw humanity as a weak species that could be easily conquered or ignored. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "Admiral Ward, begin Phase 1 of Operation Lighthouse." Susan Ward nodded and began sending coded messages to human colonies across the galaxy. Within minutes, reports started coming back. New Geneva. Colony reports defensive platforms online. Titan Station has deployed their heavy cruiser squadron. Liberty System shows green across all defensive networks. Nexus 7 reports ancient defensive systems are partially operational. Nathan raised an eyebrow at the last report. Ancient defensive systems? Colonel Graham consulted his files. Dr. Amanda Price found some old ruins at Nexus 7. Apparently, they contain working defense platforms from a civilization that died out thousands of years ago. And they still work? Captain Foster says they respond to human genetic signatures. It's like they were built to protect human colonies. The implications made Nathan's head spin, but he pushed those thoughts aside. Right now, he needed to focus on the immediate threat. Time to contact Admiral Krelthon, he said. The communications officer looked confused. Sir, Krelthon is the Hegemony Fleet Commander. We're not supposed to know his name. Nathan smiled. We're not supposed to know a lot of things. Open a channel. The main screen flickered, then showed the bridge of a massive Hegemony battleship. Admiral Krelthon was a Hegemony elite, covered in thick armor plating and standing nearly 10 feet tall. His voice was deep and threatening. Who dares to contact the Hegemony fleet? This is General Nathan Brooks of the Human Defense Force. You are approaching human territory with hostile intent. Krelthon's laugh sounded like grinding metal. Human Defense Force? You mean the primitives who barely know how to build starships? I am here to claim your empty worlds for the Hegemony. Surrender now, and we will allow your people to live as workers on our colonies. I'm afraid that won't be possible, Admiral. I'm ordering you to turn around and leave human space immediately. You order me? Krelthon roared. You have 17 weak worlds and maybe 50 outdated ships. I have 300 of the most advanced warships in the galaxy. What could you possibly do to stop me? Nathan looked at Admiral Ward, who nodded. Computer, display current human fleet positions. The holographic display activated, showing the true extent of human territory. Thousands of blue dots appeared, each representing a human colony or military installation. Red indicators showed defensive platforms, shipyards, and fleet positions spread across a region of space larger than the entire Hegemony. Admiral Krelthon stared at the display in silence. His confidence began to waver as he realized what he was looking at. This is impossible, he said finally. Our intelligence shows you have only 17 systems. Your intelligence is 200 years out of date, Nathan replied calmly. Admiral, you're not invading a primitive species. You're attacking one of the largest military powers in the galaxy. You're bluffing. These readings must be fake. Nathan nodded to Admiral Ward, who activated the next phase of Operation Lighthouse. Across human space, stealth systems deactivated and cloaking fields dropped. Hundreds of human warships suddenly appeared on sensors, surrounding the Hegemony fleet. Captain, Laura Bennett's voice came over the communications system. Admiral Krelthon, this is Captain Bennett of the UES Shadow. You are now surrounded by the Human Defense Fleet. I suggest you reconsider your invasion plans. The Hegemony Admiral looked around his bridge as his officers reported the sudden appearance of human ships. His armor plating shifted color, indicating stress and fear. How many ships do you have? He asked quietly. Enough, Nathan replied. Admiral, you made the same mistake the Galactic Council makes. You assumed that because we don't brag about our strength, we must be weak. You thought the maps ended at human space because there was nothing beyond worth your attention. Nathan paused, letting his words sink in. The truth is, the maps end at human space because we've been too polite to correct them. That's about to change. Admiral Krelthon's ship powered down its weapons. Around him, the rest of the Hegemony fleet followed suit. What do you want? He asked. Turn around and go home. Tell the galaxy that humanity is very much alive and we're not interested in being conquered by anyone. Nathan ended the transmission and turned to his officers. The first phase of Operation Lighthouse was complete. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity wasn't hiding in empty space. They were guarding the gateway to their true territory, and they were ready to defend it. Admiral Krelthon stared at his tactical display in disbelief. What had started as a simple conquest mission had become a nightmare. His 300 ships were surrounded by over 1,000 human vessels that had appeared from nowhere. Sir, our sensors are detecting massive energy signatures from the human ships, reported his tactical officer, a younger Hegemony warrior named Dextor. Their weapons technology is far more advanced than our intelligence indicated. How is this possible? Krelthon growled. The humans are supposed to be primitives, they barely have space travel. On the bridge of the UES Liberty, Commander Sarah Martinez coordinated the human defense fleet. She had been born on one of the outer colonies and had spent her entire life preparing for this moment. The galaxy was finally going to see what humanity had become. All ships, maintain formation, she ordered through the quantum communication network. Do not fire unless fired upon, but keep weapons ready. Captain Tony Rodriguez led a squadron of human fighters that danced around the hegemony, battleships. His small craft were equipped with shielding technology that made them nearly invisible to enemy sensors. The hegemony had never seen anything like them. Liberty, this is Eagle Squadron. The enemy ships are trying to scan us, but our shields are blocking their sensors. They can't get a lock on us. Understood, Eagle Squadron. Continue your patrol pattern. Sarah looked at her tactical display. The human fleet was spread across 17 star systems, all coordinating their movements through quantum communicators that worked instantly across any distance. This technology alone put humanity decades ahead of other galactic civilizations. Meanwhile, at Nexus 7, Dr. Elena Parker worked frantically to activate the ancient defense platforms that Dr. Amanda Price had discovered. The massive structures had been dormant for thousands of years, but they were responding to human presence. The power systems are coming online, Elena reported to Captain Ryan Foster. These platforms are incredible. Each one has enough firepower to destroy an entire fleet. How many platforms are there? Ryan asked. We found 12 so far, but the network extends throughout human territory. There might be hundreds of them. Elena's fingers flew over the control panel, interfacing with technology that was older than recorded galactic history. The platforms recognized her genetic signature and began powering up their weapon systems. Ryan, these aren't just weapons. They're connected to a galaxy-wide network. It's like they were built specifically to defend this region of space. Back in the battle zone, Admiral Krelthon was losing his confidence. His ships were designed to fight enemies that used conventional weapons and tactics. The humans were using technology that seemed to bend the laws of physics. Admiral, the human ships are moving in impossible patterns, Dexter reported. They're changing direction without showing any engine signatures, and their weapons are charging faster than our computers can track. What kind of weapons are they using? Unknown, sir. Our databases have no record of anything like this. Captain Laura Bennett watched the hegemony fleet from the bridge of the UES Shadow. Her quantum disruptors were fully charged and ready to fire. The weapons worked by disrupting the molecular bonds that held matter together. They could tear apart the strongest armor as if it were paper. Lieutenant Morrison, what's the status of our weapon systems? Jake Morrison checked his console. All weapons are online and ready, Captain. The quantum disruptors are showing perfect efficiency. We could take out their flagship with a single shot. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Suddenly, Elena Parker's voice came over the communication network from Nexus 7. All human ships, this is Dr. Parker. The ancient defense platforms are now online. You should see them on your sensors. Sarah Martinez looked at her tactical display and gasped. Massive structures were appearing throughout human space, each one the size of a small moon. They had been hidden, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. My God, she whispered. How many of these things are there? At least 200 platforms across our territory, Elena reported. And they're all responding to human genetic signatures. It's like they've been waiting for us to come home. Admiral Krelthon's tactical officer was now speaking in a voice filled with terror. Sir, massive structures are appearing throughout the battle zone. They're powering up weapons that register as planet killers. Planet killers? Krelthon's voice cracked. That's impossible. No civilization has that kind of technology. Sir, I'm reading energy levels that could destroy entire star systems. These platforms are more powerful than anything in the hegemony arsenal. The ancient platforms began to move, positioning themselves to defend the human colonies. Their weapon systems hummed with energy that had been building for millennia. Dr. Elena Parker watched in amazement as the platforms communicated with each other through quantum networks she was only beginning to understand. The platforms are sending us data, she reported. "They're showing us the location of more human colonies, systems we didn't even know existed. This network has been tracking human expansion across the galaxy." Captain Ryan Foster looked at the data streaming across his screens. "Elena, according to this, there are human settlements in regions of space that we thought were unexplored. How is that possible? The platforms have been guiding human expansion for centuries. They've been leading us back to territory that was once ours." Admiral Krelthon finally understood the magnitude of his mistake. He wasn't fighting a primitive species. He was fighting the inheritors of the galaxy's most advanced civilization. The humans hadn't conquered this territory. They had returned to it. "All ships, stand down," he ordered. "Power down all weapon systems." His officers looked at him in shock. "Sir, we can't retreat. The Hegemony High Command will never forgive this failure." "The Hegemony High Command doesn't understand what we're facing," Krelthon replied. "These aren't the humans from our intelligence reports. This is something else entirely." Commander Sarah Martinez received the Hegemony's surrender signal. She opened a communication channel to Admiral Krelthon. "Admiral, this is Commander Martinez. Your fleet is standing down. That's a wise decision. Commander, I need to understand what we're dealing with. Our intelligence said humans were a minor species with limited technology. This is impossible." "Your intelligence was wrong, Admiral. Humanity has been expanding and developing for centuries. We've been quiet about it because we preferred to be left alone. But when threatened, we defend ourselves. These defense platforms, where did they come from?" Sarah looked at her displays, showing the ancient structures that we're now protecting human space. "We're still learning that ourselves, Admiral, but it seems our ancestors left us some very effective guardians." The battle was over before it had truly begun. The Hegemony fleet, faced with overwhelming odds and technology they couldn't understand, had no choice but to retreat. But the implications of what they had discovered would shake the foundations of galactic politics. "Admiral Krelthon," Sarah continued, "you're free to leave human space, but you'll need to take a message back to your government." "What message?" "Tell them that humanity is not extinct. We're very much alive, and we're not interested in being conquered by anyone. The galaxy is going to have to accept that there's a new power among them." As the Hegemony fleet prepared to leave, Admiral Krelthon realized that everything the galaxy thought it knew about the balance of power was about to change. The humans hadn't just survived. They had thrived, and they had inherited technology that made them one of the most powerful civilizations in galactic history. The maps that ended at human space hadn't marked the edge of civilization. They had marked the beginning of humanity's true domain. President Helen Murphy stood at the podium in the United Human Colonies Parliament building on Earth. Behind her, a massive screen showed the new galactic map with human territory properly marked for the first time. The blue region representing human space covered nearly a quarter of the known galaxy. Ambassador Kyle Martinez sat in the front row next to Admiral Patricia Hayes. 3 weeks had passed since the Hegemony fleet's retreat, and the galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. Every major civilization was demanding answers. "Citizens of humanity and representatives of the galaxy," President Murphy began, "today we reveal the truth about human civilization and our place among the stars." The quantum transmission reached every corner of galactic space. On council worlds, in hegemony territories, and across the independent systems, beings gathered to watch the human president speak. For 200 years, humanity has been quietly expanding beyond our officially recognized borders. We did this not out of aggression, but out of necessity. When the galaxy relegated us to 17 systems and told us there was nothing beyond worth exploring, we decided to explore it anyway. In the Galactic Council chambers, Cartographer General Vexitar watched the transmission with his skin shifting between colors of embarrassment and fear. His forearms trembled as he realized how completely wrong he had been about human capabilities. Captain Ryan Foster testified next, appearing via hologram from Nexus 7. Behind him, images showed the ancient ruins and the massive defense platforms that had awakened during the recent crisis. We discovered that human space contains the remnants of an ancient civilization, Ryan explained. Archaeological evidence suggests that this civilization was connected to humanity's distant ancestors. We believe that our expansion into this region wasn't conquest, but a return to ancestral territory. Dr. Amanda Price joined the presentation, showing detailed scans of the artifacts they had found. The symbols and genetic markers painted a picture that amazed scientists across the galaxy. The technology we've uncovered responds specifically to human genetic signatures, Amanda said. These defense platforms, communication networks, and advanced systems seem to have been waiting for us. They've been guiding our expansion, leading us to habitable worlds and valuable resources. Admiral Patricia Hayes stood up to address the military implications. The Human Defense Network now consists of over 3,000 star systems, 2,000 active warships, and hundreds of ancient defense platforms. Our quantum communication technology allows instant coordination across the entire network. In his fortress on the hegemony homeworld, Supreme Commander Velthak listened to the human presentation with growing alarm. Admiral Krelthon stood beside him, still shaken by his encounter with human forces. "You were right to retreat," Velthak told his admiral. "If even half of what they're saying is true, we would have been destroyed completely." "Sir, their weapons technology is beyond anything we've encountered. And those ancient platforms, they have firepower that could level entire continents." Back on Earth, Captain Laura Bennett described the human fleet's capabilities. "Our ships use quantum disruptors, energy shields that bend light around our hulls, and propulsion systems that allow near-instantaneous travel between star systems. This technology came from studying the ancient artifacts found throughout human territory." Lisa Thompson, now promoted to Director of Galactic Relations, presented the new political reality. Humanity is no longer requesting updates to the galactic maps. We are providing them. Our territory extends across regions that were previously marked as unexplored space. The presentation included a detailed breakdown of human colonies, mining, operations, research stations, and defensive installations. Each revelation showed that humanity had built a civilization that rivaled the largest galactic powers. "We have remained peaceful during our expansion," Lisa continued. "Human colonies have defended themselves when attacked, but we have never initiated aggression against other species. We simply wanted to be left alone to develop in peace." President Murphy returned to the podium for the final portion of the presentation. "Today marks a new chapter in galactic history. Humanity is claiming our rightful place among the major civilizations. We are prepared to engage in diplomatic relations, trade agreements, and mutual defense pacts with any civilization that approaches us with respect." The transmission ended with construction footage of New Geneva Station, a massive structure being built at the junction between traditional galactic space and human territory. The station would serve as a diplomatic and trade hub, symbolizing humanity's emergence as a galactic power. In the Galactic Council chambers, emergency sessions began immediately. Species that had ignored humanity for centuries now scrambled to establish diplomatic contact. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted overnight. Cartographer General Vextar approached Ambassador Kyle Martinez after the session. His skin was a pale blue color indicating humility and respect. "Ambassador Martinez, I owe you an apology. The Galactic Council has greatly underestimated your species." Kyle smiled politely. "General Vextar, humanity bears no grudges. We're prepared to work with the Council to update the galactic maps and establish proper diplomatic relations. What will you do with the ancient technology you've discovered?" "We'll continue studying it, but responsibly. The defense platforms will remain active to protect human colonies, but we have no intention of using them aggressively. Humanity seeks peace, not conquest." 6 months later, Captain Laura Bennett stood on the observation deck of New Geneva Station, watching ships from dozens of different species dock at the trading bays. The station had become one of the busiest diplomatic centers in the galaxy. Commander Sarah Martinez joined her, carrying reports from the outer colonies. "The exploration fleets have found even more human settlements," she said. Dr. Parker estimates there might be 5,000 human colonies scattered across this region of space. 5,000? Laura whistled softly. The ancient civilization that built those platforms must have been enormous. And we're their inheritors. The platforms aren't just defending us, Laura. They're welcoming us home. Below them, in the station's diplomatic quarters, Ambassador Lisa Thompson met with representatives from the Stellar Federation, the Aquarian Collective, and even reformed members of the Hegemony Alliance. All of them wanted to establish trade relations with humanity's vast territory. The galaxy has accepted that we're here to stay, Lisa reported to President Murphy during their weekly communication. Trade requests are coming in faster than we can process them. Everyone wants access to the resources and technology we've discovered. And the Council's attitude toward humanity? Completely changed. They're treating us as an equal power now. Some species are even asking for human protection against raiders and pirates. President Murphy smiled. It's amazing what honesty can accomplish. For 2 centuries, we let them think we were weak because it was easier than arguing. Now they know the truth. The transformation was complete. Humanity had emerged from the shadows and taken their place among the galaxy's great civilizations. The maps no longer ended at human space because there was nothing beyond worth charting. They ended there because beyond lay the domain of Earth's children, inheritors of an ancient legacy that stretched across the stars. The galaxy had learned that underestimating humanity came with a price. Those who forgot that lesson would face the consequences of challenging a civilization that had quietly become one of the most powerful forces in galactic history. The age of human expansion was over. The age of human leadership had begun.